Hello, good evening. This is Juan Holker, and this is On Point Opinions, the hottest new show in the virtual world. And speaking of hot, that's what we deal with, hot topics, live news. We cut through all the misinformation, AKA BS, and that's the nicest way I can put it. Controversial issues. There's nothing off base with us. We're going to hit it, and then we're going to quit it. And that brings me to my man, Special K. Welcome back.
Thank you, Juan, for welcoming, and hello out there in virtual world. We are On Point's Opinion, and this is our third show every Sunday, not every Sunday, every first Sunday of the month at 6 p.m. So I hope everybody turned their clocks back. If you haven't, this is the time to do it. So, and make sure, you be on time tomorrow for all those important events. But a little bit about the show. Juan told you we're going to be talking about the hot topics of today. And what we realize that it's so much as it's been coined by one person, fake news, because there is a lot of fake news out there and a lot of people's opinions. And what me and Juan are trying to deal with is On Point Opinions to protect us as far as any disclaimer. That's why we want to tell you this is just our opinions. But a lot of this is fact. Okay, we want to get to the facts. We want to separate the nitty gritty, because so many people nowadays are making up the truth. And Juan, I don't even know, that's a whole nother show for a topic for a show. What is the truth? Because most people can't handle the truth. And they talk about the one that is true. But that's what we want to try to at least attempt to get to the bottom of subjects, to take out all the misconceived notions and have people thinking, because in this society nowadays, they got people thinking good milk is bad and bad milk is good. So we want to separate all of that and get the universe back on the right axis. So with that, Juan, I just want to remind people, can you click on the thumbs up button that helps gives us traction, more people that we reach on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, click on the subscribe button and subscribe to our show. Now, this is a show where me and Juan is going to have a discussion, or you may call it a debate at times, but we want you to join in. And the best way you can join in on this on Facebook Live is put it in the comment box. So if you have any statements or comments of what we say or want clarification, put it in the comment box, and use the comment box a lot more frequently, because that also gives you traction with Facebook by putting comments in there. And then, if it's some things that you don't like what we're saying, voice it, because this is On Point Opinions. Nobody's no more right than the other person.
Absolutely.
So with that, Juan, there's so much going on, man, in the world today. But let's just deal within our own little country. Let's start with our first topic of the day, Juan. And that's that whole situation, the whole scandal with the NFL that made Jon Gruden, the Las Vegas Raiders coach, resign because of racist, homophobic, misogynistic, sexist emails and things that were picked up, thousands of emails. So we want to talk a little bit about that. Why is the report not shared with the public? Does the punishment fit the crime? And is the NFL a racist organization? And more. But let's start with that, Ron. What's your take on the Jon Gruden situation?
Well, first of all, I've been feeling this way about Jon Gruden. Full disclosure, I thought he was this way going back to when he took over the team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so I don't have any special feelings for Jon Gruden, a.k.a. Chucky. But I think this is something that they've known about in the NFL for a long time. I think that Keyshawn Johnson tried to tell people early on he didn't want to display it. He got a lot of brief, but I think this has been known. This is nothing new. Many of these emails, Bob, and you correct me if I'm wrong, were from several years back, going all the way back to 2013, 2012, and before then. In fact, we don't really know. What's that about? I think a report, I think the emails, all of that should be transparent. And what makes it even more scandalous, in my opinion, is that who he was dealing and sending some of these emails to. And who knew? Our hometown football team, the Washington football team. And they're coming out of their own scandals with the cheerleaders and a hostile work environment for some. And I believe there's still many things pending where that is concerned. And I believe many of these emails were with Bruce Allen. Was it Bruce Allen? One of the Allen guys.
It's Bruce Allen and Daniel Snyder. I mean, there's something going on here. Absolutely. That, you know, I think it's a deflection, to be honest, Juan. I think they're deflecting on Jon Gruden, and he's getting all the flack. But remember, they found these emails because they were investigating the Washington Football Club, particularly Daniel Snyder.
Right.
And Bruce Allen was all on those emails, him going back and forth. I don't know why the Washington Football Club is getting a pass. You know, now I think they were fined $10 million with their own suits.
About the NFL. Right.
What they're dealing with. But why they don't want the report to become public? And that's a whole nother, and Gruden's in there, but this is bigger than Gruden.
Right. Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. This is bigger than Gruden. I believe that they're going to have to. Snyder's wife, you know, took over the team. Basically, she's running.
Took over his wife. He telling her everything what to do, right? His wife, like that's a big separation of duties.
Well, I mean, things like, I think they have co-ed cheerleaders. I think they're really trying to, they got rid of the name. That was a big thing that.
Oh, they got co-ed cheerleaders now?
Oh, yes.
What is that considered? Metrosexual cheerleaders? Okay, I know this is sensitive. I know I've gotten in trouble before. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yes. But we better leave that alone. However, and I believe that's the same with the basketball team. The Washington Wizards, I believe, have co-dancers. So, you know, that is something coming around the league. But what I think you're exactly right, Dan Snyder's why it's providing some cover for him by bringing in some of these new things. But I think all of this should be transparent. They're going to have to deal with it one way or the other. But it brings a lot of things into play, Bob. And I think that Jon Gruden is getting off somewhat easy. He had $60 million or something left on his contract. $60 million. I did hear from the owner of the Raiders that he thinks that all the emails, things should be transparent. He did say that. Mark Davis, I think that's
what's his nickname? Captain Obvious? God dang, of course they should be made. Stop all that. Stop that daggone foolishness.
But will it happen?
No, right. But so on. Is there a bigger story in this? Because I mean, the NFL, I mean, it's the NFL, when you really think about it, sometimes they operate like the Republican Party. You know, it's like they all agree to disagree, they march in step, and they all act like supremacists.
Yes.
I left off the adjective, but I just put it like that. Like, you know, I know they own the teams, they have the right, but I mean, they're comparable in so many other areas. I mean, like the whole Colin Kaepernick.
Right.
You know, that was that racist?
Well, I think so. And Colin Kaepernick, you know, he's just a new movie is out on him, and Ava DuVernay, if I said her name correctly, has done a movie about him, and he added something that was very controversial. Did you see the whole piece he did about the NFL Combine and slavery and comparing it to a slave auction? And he caught a lot of flack and still catching flack from it. In fact, you know, with my own relatives, my cousin and I, we've been back and forth about that. You know, as I said, and of course, Colin has become a lightning rod, but he used visual portion of the guys going into and then kind of transitioning into a slave auction because they're checking your teeth. And then so he wanted people to see what the NFL Combine. And so a lot of people thought that was off bases, off bound, but I think it's more nuanced than that. But not to get off into Kaepernick, but I think it shows that Kaepernick is on to something. And I think that there's got to be a reckoning. I was watching football today, and, you know, the NFL is 60, 70, 70, 75% black. I looked at these teams and the whole defense and the whole offense, but one.
But
are black guys.
these
So,
but these teams are owned by private owners.
mhm.
So don't these owners have the right and privacy to hire who they want and fire who they want in reality?
Great question. And that's the argument or the debate that I had with my cousin, was about their right, which helps transition, Bob. The NFL also would look like they're having some problems with the NBA. And you know that, what is the gentleman's name, Bob? Rob Server with the Sarver with the
Sarver. Sarver.
yes,
Yeah.
Sarver with the Phoenix Suns, the managing partner. He is being investigated for hostile work conditions and some of these same things that are in the email, misogyny. And so
racial statements.
Yes. And that begs the question, and that's what I tried to explain to my cousin. Even though these people own these teams, they get public money, they have to adhere by workplace conditions. I have a background in some human resources. You have to operate. There are rights that your workers have. And that's why there's these controversies that there are now. They cannot do anything they want.
This is what I don't understand, Juan, in that argument, right? Mm-hmm. These are private owned organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, if you're having a problem with your employer harassing you, then quit and go somewhere else. Another issue I have, Juan, with all of these situations of sexism and racism, and why are these people paying all this money for these tickets? You come in and put $15 for a beer. I mean, I think there's a bigger issue. If that's one way to hurt any kind of business owner, if he is racist and misogyny, hurt him in the pocket. That's the only thing they understand.
Well, money's a big part of this. NFL is a multi-billion-dollar business, and just to add to that, and I don't know if you heard, I just came out this week, Bob. One of the non-player personnel for the Portland Trailblazers is on leave for a hostile work environment. That's what I'll call it, workplace. I didn't know if you heard that the Portland Trailblazers put out a statement, and he's been put on leave of some sort right now. So I think I had that question down. Is there more coming out of the NBA? Something breaking in the NBA with this news, but the Dallas Mavericks.
Look at the dichotomy at the Phoenix Suns. They have a black coach, and the general manager is black, right? Is it?
Yes.
Guy, I forgot his name. James. I can't remember his name. Johnson, something like that. But anyway, right. And that's so ironic that they're put in that position now. Monty Williams, who's from this area, by the way, Prince George's
That's
County,
right. Yes, he is.
He was there when all of these alleged things were supposed to happen. But he says, but I'm very concerned about it. He said, because if these were happening while he was there, he would be in front of that mic speaking right then and there. So the bigger issue, Juan, I have with this is, why are these people going to these games, man? I'm talking about, man, look, a friend of mine took his son to the game first time, right? Mm-hmm. And his son was like 13, so he let him have the rites of passage. He gave him some money to go up by himself because the concession stand was right above him. And his son came back down there crying. He said, Dad, I couldn't buy nothing for $5. These stadiums are reaming people, man. And then they doing all these actions with the workers, with the players. I think they all getting off, Juan, and we need to hit them in their pocket. Because I'm not paying to go to any more of those games. Now, if you see me in one of those games, don't call me a hypocrite, because if I get a free ticket, I'm going.
Well, let me say this, that I think that there are going to be some repercussions. It may not be to our liking, it may not be, but I believe that there are going to be some repercussions. There is a move afoot, and I believe there's some reckoning. The Dallas Mavericks had to just recently change their whole action around for some similar action. So I believe that
Look at
there
the
is
Atlanta
going to be
Braves. They were getting
right.
on them about doing the chop, and they kept doing it.
Yes, there's going to be some slower movement with certain things, but change is going to happen. Cleveland Indians changed some things. They changed their mascot. So, as you know, and this theme is going to run through the show. Change is hard,
Juan,
but
I read this book called The $40 Million Slave by I think it's John Wooden. Roden,
Roden.
the writes for I think the Sports
Yes,
Illustrated used to be, and
that's
it
right.
was an interesting book talking about how all these players got all this money, but they have no power.
Mm-hmm.
So they make $40 million, $100 million, $200 million, but yet they don't have no say. They don't really, if they step up, their legs are cut from under them. I don't know, man. I hope the change is going to come, and all of this stuff that's coming to the light will expose a lot of that, so that people can just be treated fairly. And I don't know if that's a real possibility in this society.
But that's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah, that's been the goal. But
that's been the goal.
We're going to keep talking about. They keep moving the goalposts.
Right. So I believe change is coming. I think that there is going to be a reckoning, but it's going to move. It's going to be a little bit slower than we potentially like. But there is going to be some change at the tops of some of these teams, and I think there will be. There's a need for a minority-owned football team. We know that's an old boys network owned. The owners are a family almost, and many teams are owned by families. But I think that there will be an opportunity for some minority owners, and you will see.
You ain't holding your breath for it. Don't hold your breath.
Okay.
So Juan, let's talk a little bit, man. Tell me a little bit, man. What do you think about the police, the firefighters, and even the nurses now that are refusing to work because of these mandates? They don't want to get the vaccinations. Where do you think that is going? How do you feel about the mandates? Should we be having mandates?
Well, I think first of all, I think it's absurd, but mandates are necessary.
Wait a minute. What is absurd?
It's absurd that the refusal to be vaccinated, when it involves especially the health of the nation, your families, and so forth. I mean, this country has seen its share of epidemics and things, and had to overcome through vaccinations things like polio and the flu and measles. So, but I think that it has become political, and that is really causing so much of this weird decision making. But my sister made a point. What would they think if you were getting ready to have surgery and the doctors decided, said, "Hey, I don't want to wear my mask. It's freedom. I don't wear my mask. In fact, I don't want to wear my scrubs. I'm going to wear my jeans and to not wash my hands because that's taking away my freedoms." How would they feel about that? And I thought that was a pretty it's cutting edge, but I mean that's basically what it comes to. Or
that's pretty profound. That makes a lot of sense. You got wear their mask when they doing surgery. Well, it comes down to this thing about individual rights. It's like, I don't know if they're missing the issue or they making the issue. I understand about your rights, but the thing is, like I talked about the private ownership of the professional football teams. If you don't want to work there, then leave. I mean, so why would you hold it against them if they saying if you don't follow, our requirements, it's just like with any other job. You have other requirements, but nobody. But for all of a sudden, these what they call their private rights are being infringed upon. And I guess it's easy for me to say because I'm on the side of, people taking the vaccine. But I have a friend who told me his friend's daughter quit her six-figure professional job because they were mandating that she takes a vaccination. And I said to him, and she's Black, I may not know if this statement is 100% accurate, but how many six-figure jobs can a Black woman just walk out of and walk into another six-figure job? I think, you might want to think about that before you make that move. But I mean, it's easy for me to say, Juan. But what do you feel about this rights thing, though? I mean, how do you feel about it? I mean, these are people should have rights, right?
Well, they should, and they do. But as you just said a minute ago, Bob, these companies, these owners, they have a right to do certain things. Many of these mandates are being put out by their company. For instance, one of the most controversial places in my mind, Fox News, their workers have to have the vaccination and they have to wear a mask, yet they propagate and promote standing against that. But so, they know that it's for their health, but I think that a lot of this is, again, some misinformation for people. I think they're going on that. And it's just like the latest thing with Aaron Rodgers, and that he lied. For those of you who don't know Aaron Rodgers, which very few don't, star football player for the Green Bay Packers, said he was immunized, but he didn't tell them he was not vaccinated. And
he was taking some animal shot that they've been pushing, talking about taking. I said, how's that working for you? He done caught the COVID.
So, but Bob, interestingly enough, about that though, 27 states have sued the Biden administration for the mandate.
Right.
27 states, and I would imagine they're all Republican-run governors in those particular states, or attorney generals, but suing to disqualify people from getting that mandate. But hey, you got to think about other people's rights as well.
Juan, we're in this place right now with critical race theory, pronouns, like people wanting to be addressed with pronouns as opposed to their specific gender or their specific name. We got what they call the cancel culture. We got the Black Lives Matter. We got the Me Too movement, and these are all, I guess, kind of put them in the category of people who are talking about their rights. It's come to a point, where do we draw the line? And actually, I might be getting ahead of myself, because we're going to be talking about where do you draw the line between government and the private public citizen. But this still fits in there with the vaccination, that the people have their rights to not want to get, so leave, buy, walk. But that's me. I mean, where are we going? I guess is what I'm saying.
I think that is okay. Hey, right. You leave if you don't want to get the vaccination. I think some of these companies have been through this. They don't want to fool with it. But you also have people who are still looking for work, who have not come out of the pandemic the way others have, that are still suffering. So there's quite a bit of opportunity. Perhaps this will give opportunity for somebody else to fill some of these positions. We still have a labor market, people who dropped out, who won opportunity, who did get vaccinated. So yeah, I really and let me say, Bob, I don't believe it is the majority of people, policemen or firefighters or nurses, that are refusing to get vaccinated. If I don't know, I don't have the statistics on me.
Well, I saw statistics. I could have swore I saw 80% of the policemen are vaccinated in the country.
Right. Exactly.
So
Something to that effect.
is this really a moot point?
Well, I guess it's not if you're in that city where they are, but they definitely are making the most noise. And they're being propped up by, again, I think political forces behind it. But if they feel that they can afford to, not everybody's Kyrie Irving and these other folks with the money, but as you spoke about your friend, I don't know what they'll do. I don't know what other opportunities they have, but I think that mandates are needed for certain things. We're going to get on the other side of this pandemic. I know my life has changed. Pandemic. I know I had to deal with the quarantine. So I want to do what's necessary to get back to a bit of normalcy.
So Juan, I got to give a shout out to some of the people out there watching. And guess who just came on, Juan?
Who's
Our
that?
old boy and your Montgomery County boy, Willis Wilson. What's up, Willis?
Oh, no. Willis. Good to have you.
And my son, Scott Allen, is on. And my sister, Nolia Melton, and co-worker Don Clark, and Alan Ryan. I hope you're still out there. But hello, everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in. And, click on the thumbs up button and the heart button and put some comments up there in the comment box. You all let us know how y'all feel about some of these topics, because we're just giving you our opinions.
Right.
And this is an open forum, and we like to discuss this because I believe sometimes, Juan, it's not as much as about coming to the solutions, but it's about having a discussion about it, a saying, and not an argument, right, and not a debate, but an actual discussion that may lead to results.
Right. Well, to that point, we are not a monolithic people. We know that very well. Many of us are critical thinkers, and like my man Willis Wilson, who I've had many discussions with. But we need them, Bob. You're exactly right. We need their thoughts, some of the issues that they may feel that we're not covering, because every time I get on a call, on emails, we're sending things back and forth. These are hot topics to people, and I'm not.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying they don't have to agree with me. That's why I enjoy it, bringing it on, and I want and I will voice what the many are saying.
So look, speaking about that, got my wonderful niece out there, Stephanie Kinzer. Hello there, Stephanie, better known as Pookie. She said, I've grown out of that name, Uncle Bob.
Yes, I'm sure she has.
Check this out, Juan.
You always be Pookie.
We have one of the top consummate businessmen in the DMV. We should feel honored that he's on checking our show, and that's the Honorable John Agray.
Oh my goodness! Yes, my man.
Hello there, John. Thanks for tuning in, man. So Juan,
John tried to get me to open a coffee shop business 30 years ago, and of course, I didn't listen to him.
Well, he's got a business. Well, John has a business now, a food delivery business called Din Din, DINDIN. And it's wonderful, and it's a food delivery, and all the money goes to the chefs. So check it out, Din Din, and give me the website, actually where they should be going, John, so we can tell the people, because we want to promote our local businesses and everything too.
Absolutely, entrepreneur par excellence.
So Juan, look now. This next topic might be a little bit of controversial, and we might take hits on it, but we named this next one. Is white supremacy on trial? And this is what we're saying, you all. You have the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. young boy who had the AR-15 shooting people up there at the Black Lives Matter protest in Wisconsin.
Kenosha.
He's on trial.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Ahmaud Arbery trial, the 3 white men who's on trial, and they're blaming Ahmaud Arbery for why they were self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got those guys from Charlottesville, the Tiki Torky guys that were out there.
Tiki Torch.
How can you take a white supremacist threatening where they got a Tiki Torch from Target, from Home Depot?
That's the move, though. That's the move.
But Juan,
that's the move.
Why did the judge tell the people about what the judge did in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial? Bring them up to pace.
Oh, it's devastating. As Bob said, this Kyle Rittenhouse case is just crazy on so many fronts. Bob, let me back up quickly and say the reason why the protesters were out in Kenosha, because about a week before that, police officer shot Jacob Blake in the back 7 times. At his car door with his kids looking out the door, screaming. And I'm talking about kids all under the age of 7, 6, 5, something to that. Shot him 7 times in his back. And that's why they were protesting. And Kyle Rittenhouse, who actually lives in bordering state, Illinois, his mother drove him up to Kenosha to act as vigilante, my word. And so that's why he was doing there. Now, fast forward to the judge said as a rule that the people shot 3 or 2 of them killed, which Kyle Rittenhouse is on trial for, could not be called victims, will not be called victims, but you could call them looters, rioters, and arsonists. Even though none of them were charged with it, none of them were doing it, nothing's ever been said about them being rioters, looters, and arsonists. So that really stunned many court watchers and people. Although this judge, from what I've heard, has been controversial in the past and has done many mean-spirited things. That's the nicest way I can put it. So this is so tragic on so many fronts. Kyle Rittenhouse was 17 years old when he was brought up. He's 18 now. He's basically flawed. He's become a cause celeb, as they say, Bob.
But it's ridiculous, though, Juan.
It's ridiculous
that they want to call that he can't call them. You can't call them victims, but you can call them slick. Yeah. Right quick, man. John Agray's delivery food. Gourmet, I don't know if it's called gourmet, but some of the food tastes like gourmet. It's called eatdindin.com. EATDINDIN.com. Cool. Go out there, check them out if y'all want food delivered to your house, to your door, Black owned, wonderful. And then I want to shout out to my niece's flower business, Stephanie. Need to give us a way for people to get in touch with you for your flower business. So Juan, back to business. Hello to Cheryl Lewis who's watching. Thank you. Well, I want to get back to Juan. Now the Ahmaud Arbery case, right?
Right.
Now, that these guys are saying that they flipping. It seems like they always like flipping the script, like the critical race theory. We were talking about they need to be teaching about Black history and slavery and everything. But they flipped it and said, well, why y'all bringing up the past and getting people to hate my grandparents and folks? Like they flipping everything, like they trying to flip it on Ahmaud Arbery, and it's ludicrous, man. And look, the jury selection, they select one Black person. You tell me that's Georgia, right, Juan?
That's Georgia. Yeah.
They can only qualify one Black juror out of 12. Come on, man. And this is 2021.
Mm-hmm.
When
Mm-hmm.
is it going to stop, Juan? What does it need? What do we need to stop this, to balance this out, to flip the script on this? Because these white supremacists, because that's the country we live in. I don't care what people say. Garnett Nixon, Garnett Nickens, my favorite person. She's in the DMV area. Hello, Garnett. Glad to see you out there. Juan, what is it going to take, man, to turn this crazy? We're going in these courts and they're going against us. I mean, the Tiki Torch guys are getting favor in the court. I mean, is this ever going to change?
Well, the judge did say, thankfully, but only that he thought there was discrimination in the choices for the jurors, but he did not have, and I quote, the jurisdiction or the legality to address that. But I did hear some other attorneys say that he could have halted the case, make them go back to the beginning, but he's proceeding on, which is still disturbing. But he did acknowledge that it seemed like discrimination. And to your point, Bob, they are putting Ahmaud Arbery, to quote, the family said that they've made these the gentlemen on trial, and gentlemen, hey, I've given them too much respect. I believe they murdered him. The murders on trial are the victims, and they doing self-defense as this young man was jogging through their neighborhood. So it's difficult to watch. And Bob, just if I can just take a moment to go back to the Kyle Rittenhouse case, the judge also in that case had to get rid of one of the jurors because he made a joke about Jacob Blake. He said that the only reason he was shot 7 times, it ran out of bullets. And I mean, your lack of any caring about people, it really is disturbing. And as one of my good friends said, Mike, with hate is a powerful emotion. You have to have a lot of hate to inflict that type of punishment. And by the way, that police officer was not indicted or anything. So I believe it's going to be very difficult to get guilty verdicts in those cases. And in
any other cases?
Well, the Charlottesville boys, they are representing themselves. And the judge is giving them great latitude. And they're using Nazi symbols. They're praising Hitler. They're using the N-word regularly in the courtroom. They're recruiting for their right-wing organizations, white supremacy. I just call them the Klan. That's what my father understands, knows. But they are recruiting for their organization. So they are just putting on the circus that they want. They're getting the publicity that they want. Many are coming. So I've heard from legal scholars that be prepared for acquittals in those cases. And I hate to say that. I want to believe that, I believe you put to me, Bob, when we were coming up with our topics, is the justice system fair at all? And I just, it's almost like I'm watching could be watching Atticus Finch or something in the show.
But what it is, Juan, but what needs to be done, we're so good at articulating the problem these days, because
Right.
for years we couldn't even articulate the problem.
Mhm.
And so now everybody's got some wonderful words and can posture it and put it in such a wonderful, understanding and meaningful way. Well, I want to know, I'm about solutions, right?
Okay.
What is going to be the solutions, man? And I think one of the solutions is, people, these judges that are getting on these, sitting on these seats in these courtrooms, man, people need to get out and vote, because it starts at the local. You always say, man, politics is local. And these people be waiting for the general election for the president, but it's really the local elections that's even more important than the general election. People just they need to get out and do their job. They keep talking about the government not doing their job. You're right. The government need to do their job, but private and public citizens need to do their job. Stop pointing. We're in this society of no one wants to be accountable. Everybody's pointing the finger, blaming somebody else.
Right.
That's what I tell you about the Republican Party. All they are to blame, whining, and deny. That's all they do. And it's a damn
Blame
shame,
Juan.
man, because it's filtering into other places in our society. And if we don't watch out, these governors, because there's about 6 states where the governors are these Trump followers, and they talking about they still
More
pushing
than that.
the vote was stolen. They still talking about it, and they running for office. Matter of fact, several of the people who were at the insurrection just won office in certain things.
Absolutely.
What is the country coming to, Juan? When are we going to stop and put our foot down? And you know, some people say no, we could do. It's got to be something. I know voting is one thing, but that can't be the only thing.
Well, great point, and we'll touch a little bit more on that as we've been teasing in our next topic. But Bob, to your question, I do think, and then once again, the justice, the wheels grind slowly. But the fact that in actuality, videos are helping. It may not be the outcomes we all want, but the fact that those 3 men in the Ahmaud Arbery case, the only reason it was a month later that they picked them up is because that video surfaced, and they were able to pull the prosecutor, the lady on the in the courts who was trying to look out, because one of the men is a former police officer. That's the only way they were able to get them and to put them on trial. So that's a win there in some respects, whereas they could still be sitting at home. So that is that's good. And we did have a verdict in a case in Minnesota with on the George Floyd case. So there is some inklings or some things, little droplets coming that I can say, at least to that point. I think the fact that we have the videos, that we are starting to see officers indicted, there is some federal help from some of them. That's a start, but it's not going to be an easy road. But it's incumbent upon us to stick to it. We owe our forefathers and people who did that for us to continue to try to advocate for it. Bob, like you say, get judges on. For the first time in my career, I actually looked up every judge I voted for in Montgomery County. I live in Montgomery County, Maryland, for those of you who are out. I looked through every judge's background. I read everything on them, and I follow politics. So I know the majority of people don't look at that. But that's how you get called to jury service.
So Juan,
through your vote.
I just want to get to some of the comments in the box, right? We got some comments. And Michelle, and I hope I pronounced, she went to Wilson, was in my high school class at Wilson High School.
Oh, I know she's good.
Suye, I hope I pronounced it right. But she said, when are Democrats going to do something other than talk? We like hearing good, but we need results. Like Bobby said, we require more. She's 100% correct on that. And then, Juan, I got a comment from, and the name of their site is called Eternal Dark Elf. I don't know who that is, but they say social media making younger generation lazy, don't want to get out and vote. And then Eternal Dark Elf says, Juan, on point. Yes. One last thing I want to say to Juan, part of the solution is, the problem is, Juan, they have taken civic government out of schools. So most young people really don't even understand the whole government process. What we really need is not people not only people get out and vote on, but what we need is young people to get out and make policymakers, get on these councils, get on these Congress, get in the Senate, get into the local district councils. That's what we need.
On the school boards,
places that make policy, not politics. Politics is all about talking and show, but policy is where it's all made. So Juan, let's get into our last subject before the night gets away from us. And one last thing, and I hope y'all don't mind, but my man John, because we want to give him some props with his thing, he said they deliver all over the DMV from Monday to Friday, 100% of the meal price goes to the local chefs that prepare these heat and serve meals out of commercial kitchens. We have over 1,700 diners signed up. We'll pass the initial goal of 500. So
Wow.
that's eatdenden.com.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Good for
Yeah.
you, John. That sounds so much like John A.
Yeah. So Juan, let's get into this final topic, man.
Which
And this
captures a lot of what we've been talking about. You've been
exactly.
teaching.
Where do you draw the line between government and the private public citizen? Because you got private and you got public, right? Where do you draw the line? Meaning, who is accountable for what? Because everybody want to say the government's not doing enough. The government's saying the people are not doing enough. Who is responsible for what? Do we have a functioning democracy? And I can answer that, no, because it's been a failed experiment. We haven't even been close to a democracy, because the democracy is supposed to be for the people, by the people. And as we know, we live in a white supremacist society. There's no question about it, Juan. Is anybody doing their job? That's my question to you, Juan. Where do we draw a line between government responsibilities and the private industry and the public citizen?
And for those of you who don't know, Bob comes from a sociological and anthropology background, so he knows he's really testing me to see if I got it. But we debated about this being a functioning democracy. And by the way, the majority I hear people coming on the show are worried about where we sit for whatever it is this experiment is holding now, that it's frayed at the edges. But I think, Bob, it takes both. Just as you said, it takes a willing, how do people say it? Your public has to be engaged. That's the only way. They always reference the founding fathers. They counted on it being a functional and educated citizenry. Look, and that is what will help your government function. And the government is often demonized, but it can be a central part. I think part of the reason the government is demonized too, Bob, is because it helped the least of these, which, you know, many of these people claim to be Christians or whatever
democracy is supposed to be about.
Exactly. Supposed to be Christians or whatever you are, Muslim. You're supposed to be helpful of the people, the least of these. But it goes to what we were discussing before that. Does anybody care about the poor? Does anybody care? But I think people have to be active. The fact that we don't have civics in class, when it is the very bedrock of our makeup and what we are going to be doing. Every child should know about it, but that's what they want to dumb it down. Many people say we're headed to an autocracy, full autocracy, which it does seem like we are. But they both have to stay engaged. But I know you have to motivate. But I believe, Bob, we have to educate, motivate, and instigate to get all the groups inside. That was my best Jesse Jackson impression.
I was going to say, you sound like Jesse Jackson on this one.
You are somebody.
Juan, look, I was when he was running the campaign in '88. Yeah. He was in Iowa. I was closing the bank in Iowa, and I went to one of the rallies, and he was out there rhyming to these redneck mugs at the Iowa Beat Pack.
And they were into it,
and they were into it, man. He was into it.
They love us until they hate us.
So Juan, gotta give a shout out, man, to another viewer, one of our area baddest, sharp, shootingest jump shots. His jump shot so soft, is softer than baby's breath on the back of a pedal. That's Brian Maggot.
Oh,
Brian,
right. Yes, sir.
Hello out there. Oh man, Juan, guess it, we got Carolyn Collins, a wonderful family friend, and Sandra Adina Grant.
Mm.
This is where Sandra's here now. She's a referee in men's sports too, high school and young people sports and rec league sports.
Mm.
And she grew up in London, Warren. She saw me play. She was with the Brixton Topcats, with Jimmy Rogers. Remember Jimmy?
Of
Yeah,
course.
she comes from London, so she's watching. So back to the subject right quick, you all. I got to tell y'all, when I say, when we say who's accountable, the government, for instance, back in the day, the government took it upon themselves to help people get into which was probably the most immediate way to get into the financial mainstream and into society was education. They used to help fund the education and get you, and you used to pay very low amounts to be able to get a college education. Now they've transferred that all to the private citizens. That's what I'm talking about. The government needs to get out there and do their job. Now I give Joe Biden, he's trying, and that's why I can't understand, Juan, how people complaining about the infrastructure bill, the human infrastructure bill, where he's trying to get help people with student, not just student paying for community college, child credit, and health care. And this is all to help people. And people are saying, man, these people want a handout. Who's going to pay for it? But I never heard them complaining when Trump gave the richest 1% the largest tax break. They had 80% of the tax break went to the richest 1% in America, and they didn't pay for it.
Right.
But no one was complaining about that when they were helping them. But whenever they help the low man, the poor people, it's weird how they always want to blame the economy, the problems in America, the war on drugs, the war on power. They want to blame the poor man.
All of a sudden, we spend the money. Too much money.
The ones who paying less money, the nurses, the fire, the people who are getting the least, they play, and people fall for that. Like the people out there in West Virginia and them back with Mississippi, they like, man, you want Obamacare? I don't want this stuff. How about the ACA, Affordable Care Act? Yeah, what's that?
Absolutely.
But it's crazy how we are being brainwashed, and we need to turn it around. We need to get smart. But the solution, one, is the government. I'm talking about the federal government, because now you got these states like Texas acting like they want to succeed. No, you have to work within the federal laws. That's why they're federal laws, because it's governing for everybody. It's not just about your state. I get it. You should be concerned about your own state. No question about it. But you also have to remember, we are a United States. That's why technologies, Juan, is narrowing this thing. It's not going to be the full solution to racism, but because of fintech and people now can get out there and go directly to financial institutions and cut out banks and the middleman, and it doesn't matter about, because they're not looking at what your race is, because you don't have to apply. You just apply, and if you're paying your bills on time, you got a good credit score, then you can get a loan. That's where we're going, Juan. But people, the private and public, need to do their responsibility. Go to school. Go get retooled. No, there ain't no more daggone coal mining jobs. Go retool and learn how to do code on a damn computer. Or how about just put a computer together, period. Re-skill yourself. That's what we need, and we need to be talking. That's what the Democrats, they get chewed up by the Republicans, because they use like 2 or 3 comments, like the guy who won, Youngkins, who won. His platform was about reversing critical race theory. And what does that have to do about how he's going to help somebody? The Democrats, the government, the federal government, and the state government, do your job. That's what I'm saying. Do your freaking job. And then private corporations, do your job too. Pay your damn tax.
Right.
You're going to pay zero tax, and you're making all that money, and you got your trucks and boats going up and down the water, going up and down the road.
Exactly.
It's funded by the government. Stop all that foolishness.
Yeah. That's why I think you answer your own question. That's right. I agree. And it's funny, you said something about succeeding. Did you know there are 3 counties in Maryland that are looking to succeed from Maryland?
What?
Yes.
No, we read it. I'm saying? Well, that's why we're here. That's why On Point. We giving you the news, the skinny. They don't want to say, go ahead, Juan, I'm sorry.
But get this. My sister read it to me. 3 counties in Maryland that want to succeed. And Bob, guess where they want to succeed to?
Where?
West Virginia. What the hell? Why are you going
The
to
lowest
succeed in West Virginia? There's nothing more.
They got low education,
Lowest,
high
right,
unemployment, and they want to succeed. That
So
says it all.
That says it all. And also, a lot of people have been making mention of Joe Manchin for holding up a lot of things. But it's just ironic that Joe Manchin wants to say there's too much spending, and we have to cut out Family Leave Act and things like that, which they just put back in. But
of all people,
look,
of all states,
as he pulls away in his Maserati and heads to his yacht where he stays during the year at his house.
Stop that daggone foolishness.
I can't make this up.
Guess who else is checking us out, man?
Who's that?
Our favorite friend and reverend, Patricia Patty Fears.
Oh, what?
What's up, Patty?
Amen.
How you doing out there, man? We're getting a lot of Juan. Oh my God, Juan.
Patty got. I hope she blessed him.
Juan, guess who else is watching? Mike Wildman from up there in New York, who was over in Scotland, who had the baddest female coaching professional team, won everything there was in Scotland. What's up, Mike Wildman?
Hey, Mike.
Glad to see you, bro. Glad to see you out there, man. We got a lot of comments.
Tell our international people we're trying to bring the world together. We have so many good people. I'm so glad Brian Maggot. I know Brian, we want to get some of your knowledge because I grew up with so many of these people and Maggot and look up to them. And I think that those are the types of things. Once Brian's always been comfortable around us, comfortable around his boys. He grew up with so many brothers playing ball. And I think that I know he knows and can reach out to that community and help bring some of this together. Mm-hmm. And so I'm glad to hear you check this out.
So that brings us to the end of the show, and
boy, the time flies.
We have this segment, you all. It's like it's our private opinion commentary solo, and it's called Sound Off. Mm-hmm. This particular segment, we didn't want to add it for things that we may have on our chest, been wanting to get off, or things that other people don't talk about, but just what's in our head, and that's going to be scary. So, Juan, you go first on Sound Off.
Okay. Well, thank you, Bob. And I'm going to flip it a little bit this time. Bob and I don't share what we're going to talk about.
So I don't know. I'm just first time I'm hearing this too.
Yes, we try to bring it, but and I'm reading. I'm reading from my notes, you all. So if you see me looking down, but something you asked either last show or show before, you said, why hasn't President Biden done anything special for Black Americans? And this is my answer. But I want to say, Bob, when you asked me that, that's a question a lot of my friends ask or criticize. My cousin, he and I have debates about Obama, things that they get on about. But anyway, I digress. And I want people to don't forget that the $5 billion relief bill.
What happened to your audio? We lost you there. There you go. You're back.
Relief bill in the stimulus check was the most significant legislation for Black farmers since the 1964 Civil Rights Act. And these farmers have been fighting for that for so long, and that's so important. And many of our greatest legislation have come from the likes of Lyndon Johnson and others who were some good old boys. And I'll leave you with this. So I wanted to throw that in there, but I wanted to, this story, I wanted to come with a little bit more of a positive ending. And it leads me to the sound off of this week. I want to congratulate Kendall Ray Johnson, a 6-year-old girl who made history last month as the youngest certified farmer in Georgia and the youngest Black farmer in the state. Kendall started out at the age of 3 with a vegetable garden in the backyard. Now she has a farming business called Agroculture, and that's with agro with the WK culture, agriculture. Young Kendall has raised $85,000 in support of young farmers and has opened a monthly gardening club, teaching other children where their food comes from. Her hometown, South Fulton, Georgia, has even declared a Kendall Ray Appreciation Day. My dad's people were farmers, so Kendall's warms my heart. And as a financial advisor, Bob, I know you love hearing about inspiring young entrepreneurs. And I just wanted to come with that positive note because, man, I get negative all the time. But Kendall Ray, shout out to you. Congratulations. You talked about what our young people have to do. And this is what our future is right here, Bob.
Well, I want to correct you on one thing, Juan. You said I'm a financial advisor. That I am not. I'm a financial educator. That's totally different. Financial advisor, you have to have a certain license and be telling people, and they can come back and sue you. I'm just a financial educator. So let's keep that straight. So you on mute, Juan. So that's a good sound off, Juan. So I want to tell you what my sound off is, Juan. Stop the foolishness. My whole segment is on a bunch of foolishness that people are trying to shove in front of us, shove down our mouths to eat, and it's a bunch of foolishness. For instance, the whole critical race theory in Virginia, where they're trying to flip it, saying, why are we just making their people feel, talk bad about their forefathers, and we should be all together, and you should judge a man by the color of his skin, not by reading Martin Luther King's statement. You know what I said to that, Juan? Stop that damn foolishness. Number two, Juan just said, they're talking about they want to succeed in Maryland, 3 counties. And where they want to succeed to, Juan? West Virginia. You know what I say to that, Juan? Stop that damn foolishness. How about this one? Yeah. All these people taking unemployment, they don't want to work. They just want to stay at home and make money. Because they got $3,000? That's going to make them all that much more money? Do you know because of the pandemic, a lot of people were able, they lost their jobs or they left their jobs, but they made more money in the pandemic. So some people would go, well, they're gone. They made more money. No, because the government finally helped them and they were able to pay down. Credit card debt went down because of the pandemic and the stimulus and the payments that they helped people with. The child credits that they got, it helped people to be able to take care of their kids and pay their bills. But they're going to get mad because these people, the government helped these people or gave a person a hand up, and you're going to get mad? You know what I say? Dial 1-800. Stop that damn foolishness. So that's my sound off, Juan, for this week. Stop that daggone foolishness, man. You know, all this white noise is just ridiculous, man. Juan, like to say, oh, man. Oh, Chris Walson down there at Bennett College. Said it, you can't hear me, Juan? I don't know what happened to you, Juan. But anyway, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's been a great time. We're here the first Sunday of every month at 6 p.m. on Point Opinions. I'm Bobby Kinzer. And that's Juan Holcomb. Enjoy. We enjoy this, y'all. Stay tuned the next time. And we got even more topics to talk about. Thank y'all. And look, keep putting in there your comments. And even right now, click on the thumbs up. A lot of y'all are still doing that. And John Agray says a suggestion, set up a 5-digit text so folks can donate. Wow. Okay. That's not a bad idea. All right, y'all. Thank you, Juan. On behalf of Juan Holcomb and Bobby Kinzer, we are on Point Opinion.